Hey everyone, welcome back to AIBiz, the show where we keep AI real, revenue focused, and actually usable in the wild. I'm your host Yusuf, and today we're talking about something most founders and GTM teams usually avoid, like a legal contract on a Friday afternoon: AI governance and regulation. Our guest today lives right at that intersection of this is scary compliance stuff, and here is how you turn it into actual pipeline. I'm so excited to welcome Shayne Adler. She's the CEO of AETOS Data Consulting, where they turn what she calls strategic compliance into a sales advantage. She translates frameworks like SOC 2, ISO 27001, and NSI AI into simple playbooks so teams can ship faster, reduce risk, and win enterprise trust instead of drowning in alphabet soup. Shane, welcome to AIBiz. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Perfect, perfect. When most of the people hear AI governance and regulation, they picture giant binders, slow review boards, and lawyers saying no to everything. From your operator lens, is AI governance actually useful for startups and growth companies, or is it a lot of it just corporate theater to make big companies feel better?
Honestly, between us, it's a little bit of both. I would say that there is an element of compliance theater or corporate theater to it because a lot of a lot of these companies, especially for example, an enterprise buyer in a B2B space, they don't they don't want to actually dive deep into what their vendors are doing. And so a lot of these compliance activities, these certifications function as a shorthand or a heuristic so that they don't have to really double click on what's going on under the hood of a company if they're going to add that to your that if they're going to add that business to their vendor stack. Because for any B2B company, every and every company actually in general, every vendor that you're connected to, that you're using, your CRM, um, your document management, your email, that all adds to your exposure. And so a lot of larger companies that want to move fast and will have a lot of companies eager for their business, they're not going to waste time talking to a company that doesn't have certifications and governance in place. So it is a bit of this. Even if you're doing it, you also need the trust signals that go with it in order to demonstrate that you are not a bad actor. On the other hand, there is a lot of benefit to it. I don't want to discount the fact that there could be a lot of harm for for leveraging badly managed AI. I think one thing that is coming up a lot lately would be shadow AI use. Uh, a lot of a lot of people, e- even people who work in AI, don't fully understand how the decision making process works, how the thought process works within the AI model, and so there's no telling what could come out the other end or with another user if, for example, an employee were to put client information into their own ChatGPT account, not knowing they didn't switch off model training because they don't have a tool that's sanctioned by their company, but they need to get a draft out of an email quickly and they want to use AI to help them with blank page paralysis. So they're putting client data into an AI model without realizing that it could have ramifications down the line that hurt the company, hurt the client, etc.
Can you give us a concrete example for a seed or Series A company with a small team? What would non theater AI governance look like in the first 6 to 12 months?
I think it's comes down to very pragmatic steps. I think acknowledging that AI tools will be used in the first place. Saying that no AI is permitted is naive at this point, and setting up corporate accounts that are managed and have security controls in place, that have model training turned off, and access controls in place is it's an easy thing to do. You can sign up for a business workspace account in a few clicks with these providers and set these things up with little to no knowledge. Well, I mean, you need a little bit to know what to turn off and turn on, but it doesn't take a lot to get that set up so that you can control while with the flow of the data while ensuring your team has the tools they need. Other things would be looking at your third party providers. Who are you using to process your data? Is does your CRM use AI? If so, are they training on your data? Uh, are you going back and deleting information that's no longer relevant or doesn't apply to current customers? Having those retention policies in place. So it's very simple things that will minimize your coverage. For example, there, um, if you don't have a data retention policy in place, and hopefully this wouldn't happen, but you get hit with a litigation hold and you have to freeze deleting any data, then you have who knows how long of a history of information that could be gone through and exposed potentially from your business, that could suck up time with attorneys. If you minimize how much you're holding in these AI tools in any tools, it's a huge benefit. So, like I said, just those simple day-to-day policies and then putting those policies into practice in terms of managing your data, because anyone who's working intimately with AI knows AI is built entirely on a foundation of data. So all of the data privacy principles apply. And then on top of that, you have the AI governance principles.
I love that because, it might sound very overwhelming to people, but you are actually not asking a lot. You maybe a tiny list of real risk or a sample review path. So, you know, to as to prevent the future panic or on the spot panic if something arises.
Preventing on the spot panic is a big part of it. Having the structure in place prevents those scrambles, because there will be questionnaires coming in. There will be, for example, with a startup, that possible investors, potential investors, are going to want to know all of these things about how you run your day-to-day processes and procedures and security, and making sure that their investment will be safe. So instead of having all of this ad hoc or piecemeal and scattered, and one department doesn't know what the other department's doing as far as technology and AI usage, having a cohesive plan built on some basic principles will prevent those those scrambles, those panics, those things that will stop your core business in its tracks for hours, days, possibly weeks.
Mm. Can you give us examples of lightweight but defensible AI controls a company can, you know, put in places that does not necessarily kill their speed, but still hold up when a security team or a regulator starts asking questions?
Absolutely. I think very simple things like sanctioning a generative AI tool or an LLM for company use and allowing its use, uh, knowing that it's available to their employees, but it is within certain controls. And then letting customers know in plain language how AI is used in the business. So if it's in a contract, for example, or a terms of service saying we use LLMs, that we may put client data into these, and these are the safeguards we have put in place to protect your data if it is going into AI for analysis or for administrative support, what have you. It very just being transparent and putting out all of the information in plain language, not trying to hide them all. I know there's a lot of bias against using AI for example, drafting or writing, but the more you try to hide its use, the more opportunity there is going to be for an issue to arise. So it comes down to the transparency. And then also not just saying what you do, but doing what you say. So then if you say you are going to clear out chats and any attachments and data and have a limit on how long something sits in, say, like Fireflies, the AI meetings recorder, just came to mind. If you say that you keep things for a maximum of 2 weeks and then delete them, then actually go through every 2 weeks and delete the data. The delta between what people say they do and what they're actually doing tends to be where a company can break itself into jail and get itself into trouble.
And looking forward, like in the future, from your forward looking but no hype perspective, what shifts in AI governance and regulation are you watching most closely right now?
I think everyone in this space is watching the EU pretty closely right now. It's going to be very interesting to see how the current moderating voices on data privacy and the EU AI Act are going to have an impact on the actual rollout of enforcement of the EU AI Act. I think I think that's sort of one of the bellwethers internationally. We work with a lot of US based and US centric companies, and I think the patchwork that everyone's dealing with on this end is going to have to get resolved at some point. There will be like an emerging standard. So I'm watching the trends and the patterns. What we do at AETOS is we have a framework that we have called privacy principles by design. A lot of conversation around privacy and AI focuses on privacy by design, meaning building data privacy principles and it means building privacy controls into product development. But we focus on building the principles into the product and the operations because the landscape does shift so much so quickly in some of these fields that if you keep coming back to the underlying themes that govern our attitudes about it, the legislation, there's a lot of commonality. There's a ton of overlap. And if you adhere to those principles and execute on them, that's where you're going to get the highest ROI for your investment in compliance. And that's going to get you the furthest. So I'm trying to keep an eye on what people are saying, but also the broader themes under what's being said so that we can try to, as much as possible, future-proof things for our clients.
Oh. Shane, thank you for keeping this in plain English and out of doom mode. Before we close, where can people find you and AETOS Data Consulting if they want help turning compliance into a sales advantage instead of a headache?
I would love to hear from any listener. Our website is AETOS-data.com, AETOS-data.com. And I'm just Shayne at data.com. And anyone can feel free to reach out with any questions. I'm happy to have a sit down and talk things through and see what advice might be appropriate to a certain circumstance that would be able to help a founder, because we really want to be able to mm, close the accessibility gap in compliance and make it affordable, easy to get, and dialed in proportionately for startups and SMBs in a way that makes sense for where they are with their life cycle, and not overdo it and not underdo it.
Amazing. We will drop those links in the show notes.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. And to everyone listening, here is your takeaway. AI governance is not optional anymore, but it also does not have to be dramatic. If you do this well, you ship faster because you stop arguing the same risk questions every sprint. You close bigger deals because you can prove you are safe and serious. Sleep a little better at night because when something breaks, you are not improvising in front of a lawyer. So pick your one control, put it on the calendar, and start turning your "we care about trust" slide into actual auditable proof. This is AI Biz. I'm your host Yusuf. If this episode helped you, share it with the founder or product lead who is currently stuck between shift faster and "oh no, it's legal." Hit follow, leave a review, and we will be back next week with more real talk on building AI businesses that actually last. Until then, build smart, ship responsibly, and keep it human.